Hi guys, my name is Josie. This is another episode of Launchpad, and I'm here with Mile32.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So let's get right into it. Let's hear a little bit about who you are, how you got into this scene, some inspiration.
I have been a big music head all my life. My parents were, deadheads back in the 90s,
Love that.
and so I grew up around music. I played the drums. I've been in some bands and all that fun stuff. But my cousin got me into dubstep when I was like 11, probably.
That's like an iconic age.
Yeah. Yeah. He showed me, I think, Skrillex, and it just like created a spark.
Mm-hmm.
And I've literally been doing it almost 11 years.
That's so cool. Do you feel like your background in music, drumming, does that play a role in how you produce today?
Definitely, yeah. It's a little bit different because all the drums are synthetic, but it definitely helps to have that knowledge and the theory.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Mixing with dubstep is so hard. Like, I've even tried to do it on Ableton. That is so hard. I just need to know from someone who's as talented as you, how do you get that cohesion? Like, what are the pieces you put together, and then you're like, this sounds right. This is a song I want to put out there.
It's all practice, really. That's the biggest thing, and most of my friends in the industry will tell you the same thing. It's just about having that ear and knowing what needs to come next or what needs to be added. And that really just it just comes with time.
Yeah. How would you describe your unique sound? What about your sound makes you stand out from other artists?
I would say it's very high energy, a lot heavier than a lot of the normal rhythm stuff. But I think that's what makes me stand out because I can do both. I can do very heavy stuff and I can do more minimal rhythm. So I've expanded to multiple branches of our genre, which is pretty cool.
Do you have any inspirations currently that you like to look up to for your own music?
Yeah, definitely. I would say like Sudden Death. Just with all the super unique things he's doing with his shows and his
Have
music.
you been to a Void set?
I have. It's the craziest thing ever. It's absolutely insane. So he's a huge inspiration for me. I would also say Sizzy is a huge inspiration just because of how unique their style is. I think with riddim, it's really, really easy to fall into the same thing that everyone else is doing just because it's such a basic genre. And so those guys are really pushing the narrative and doing something different.
Carving
so I really look
path.
up to them. Yep.
Yeah. What would you say is a common misconception about bass artists?
That we're all terrible people.
Evil.
Yeah. That's definitely a common misconception.
You guys are actually teddy bears.
Most of us are. Yeah. There's some interesting people in our scene, but most of us are harmless and very awkward people.
Would you consider yourself an awkward individual?
A little bit.
No.
I'm definitely an introvert, but doing this and working in this industry has really made me step out of that.
Yeah.
Because you have to.
I love that. Tell us a little bit about your path. Like, when you first started getting here now, what are some challenges you've faced, some adversity you've had to work through?
I think the mental strain is something that's not talked about a lot of someone that's starting to play shows more frequently. It's really tiring. And also having to make music all the time, it does put a big strain on you.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's talked about a lot.
100%. How do you deal with that then? What helps you come out of that exhaustion and constant needing to feel like you need to fill some shoes and improve yourself? How do you handle that?
I would say taking breaks. Taking breaks and taking time to do other things and not just like locking myself in my room every day.
100%.
That takes away that stress, and so when I go back in there, I can make a bunch of music or do whatever,
Like a little hiatus.
Yeah.
What are some things you like to do when you go on your breaks? Is there any like specific activities you indulge in?
Yeah, I play a lot of video games.
Cool. What ones?
Recently, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. I love soccer, so I play FIFA all the time.
Cool.
But yeah, I run that with a lot of my friends most nights, just when I'm super burnt out or my ears hurt or whatever.
Exactly. It's good to just take a step back sometimes.
Yep.
All right, I do want to talk about that amazing Lost Lands crater set that you had. I bet that was absolutely electric. Please explain how that got to that and how the experience was for you. Was that your first time at Lost Lands?
No, I've been to Lost Lands that was my third time.
Okay, cool.
First time playing anything though.
Yeah.
That was probably the craziest thing I've ever done.
Insane. Oh my God, that was such a cool setup.
That was the coolest thing I've ever done. And it was very last minute too.
Mm-hmm.
We had gotten there on Tuesday because we were camping, and
this is a group you're in, correct?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it was a DPMO, which is the label that I'm a part of.
Mm-hmm.
The artist that runs it, Funkcase, he texted me on Wednesday while we were already at Lost Lands and was like, "Hey, we're doing a takeover tomorrow at the Crater."
You're like, no way.
And he like sent me a list of who was playing, and he was like, "Do you want to be on it?" And I was like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
and he was like,
insane.
"All right, it's tomorrow." I was like,
all right, let's go. I'm
I was
excited.
like, "Oh my gosh."
Do you normally go to festivals just on your own, just to attend, or do you have to be playing to go?
Most of the time, like I've sent a lot of festivals just going.
Mm-hmm.
FK was my first time last year, and I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
That one's definitely hard to go to if I'm not playing, just because it's so expensive.
For
but
sure.
I love going to festivals.
Yeah.
So I will always try to be out there, even
Do you have
if
a
I'm
favorite
not playing.
festival?
Lost Lands.
Let's talk a little bit about your Red Rocks performance as well. I love Red Rocks, so that just kind of
It's the
touched my heart when I saw it on your
the
Instagram.
greatest.
How was that for you?
It was really cool as well. We were just going because some of my friends were playing.
Mm-hmm.
We were just going to go support, and then they had told me that they were going to play one of my songs out, and so I went up there and played that out with them.
Was that
It
also a last minute?
Yeah, that was
edition?
pretty last minute. That was probably like a week or two before, not
Mhm.
the day before, but it was pretty last minute. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
It's so beautiful there.
It's
I love that
amazing.
venue.
That's the best venue ever.
It is. I totally agree.
I think that's the best
How
venue.
many people were in that crowd? Like, what's the biggest crowd you've ever had to play for?
That crowd had probably 3,000-4,000 at that point. It was also pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest crowd ever, I would have to say the Crater. That was probably upwards of like 5,000.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Absurd.
Do you ever get nervous? I would get
Yes.
nervous. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's some of my artist friends don't really have nerves, which I thought was always crazy.
Yeah, like how do you check out of that?
I really don't know how they do it. I get nerves so bad the whole day of every show.
How do you deal with that then?
I just thug it out,
Yeah.
I guess.
I gotta go. I gotta ride it out.
Yeah, it's something that I don't really know how to get rid of. But I
meditate?
know sometimes.
Yeah.
I know that once I get to the venue and I start playing and everything, it goes away completely. And so that kind of just helps. I know I'm super nervous, but it just helps me push through the day.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have a biggest pet peeve when it comes to fans? Or something you love about fans?
I don't know if I would have a pet peeve. I love the energy that the bass music scene brings. So people at the shows, they go crazy.
100%.
They give you that crazy energy, and it helps me give them that back.
Exactly.
So I love that about this scene in general.
How do you feel like this upcoming 2025 year is going to shape you in your career? What do you have coming up? Do you have anything you want to let us in on?
I think it's going to be a very good year. It's going to be I try to, take a step up every single year from the last year. And I think we're going to do that this year. We've got a lot of shows locked in. We're starting to, I can't share where, but we're expanding to some international shows.
Oh, that's so exciting. I was just
Yeah.
about to ask that.
Yeah, so that's going to happen this summer. And I'm really excited about that.
And that'll be your first time doing something international.
Yep.
Cool. That'll be
Yeah.
so cool. Who are some artists or producers you look up to, and have any of them given you advice?
I'm going to say Sudden Death again. He's kind of on top for me. I've been lucky enough to hang out with him on a couple occasions, and he's a great guy. He's awesome to talk to. Another one is Subtronics. They've both been very, very nice to like people my size, the little guys in a sense. But yeah, they will answer any question I have for them regarding anything. They're the greatest dudes ever.
I saw the back-to-back with Subtronics. That's so cool. How do you feel like that shaped you moving forward in your career?
That was, funny enough, that was the same night that I did the Red Rocks thing.
So just a
4
lot
hours
one night,
later.
yeah.
That was a lot.
Exhilarating.
That was a very beneficial night just because of who was there. I would say that's how it shaped my year out is I met a lot of very important people there, and it helped me benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So living in Utah, how is the bass scene there?
It's growing very fast.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of underground stuff, right?
Yeah, it wasn't, at least for bass music, it wasn't the greatest until probably 2018.
Mm-hmm.
COVID obviously took a big hit, as a lot of places did. But it's rising really fast with some of the companies that we have out there. They're doing some really cool things.
Yeah. Okay, tell me a little bit about DPMO, your little group.
DPMO.
How did this form?
Originally is just a label.
Okay.
It's Funk Case's label.
Okay.
But he brings in artists whenever he signs their music. He brings them into the family. So it's basically a big brotherhood. We're all very good friends with each other.
Oh, that's
so
awesome. It's like a support system.
Yeah, when we did the Lost Lands thing, it was all just his people in his circle on DPMO, and up there we were all having so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big family, and James Funkcase has been a very beneficial, mentor almost for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. I did some stalking, and I saw that you said you had the Skrillex haircut. Do you have a picture of that?
I might, but I'm not going to show you.
Oh, we can't see.
No, it's too bad. It's too bad.
He'll reveal it someday.
Maybe one day.
Did you always have a passion for bass music, or did you evolve from another genre like house?
Originally, like as a kid, I loved like classic rock and the Grateful Dead, like jam bands almost. But yeah, I was introduced to dubstep first, so that's always been my love. I did have a little phase where I liked big room house and like progressive house and stuff. I'm not sure why. But yeah, bass music has always been my love.
Could you ever see yourself kind of being more versatile and making some music involving house?
Yeah, definitely. I occasionally will branch out and make some house music.
That's so
I
cool.
love drum and bass as well.
Same.
So eventually I would like to branch out once
Yeah.
I'm good enough at making those genres.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's awesome when artists can be versatile and do multiple, because then you can grab like different audiences, different fans. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's also really beneficial to my creativity.
For sure.
If I'm super burnt out on dubstep, producing other genres helps.
Do you feel like the scene has only evolved since you were 10, or how do you feel like it has grown? Do you feel like it was better back then?
It has 100% evolved since then, because that was right around when dubstep was starting to, the big shows were starting to happen. Like Skrillex at Red Rocks happened that year. That was the biggest thing that dubstep has ever seen at that point. But yeah, it's thanks to like people like Excision, people like Subtronics. Those guys have really pushed it onto a very huge audience, and it's bringing a lot of people into the underground stuff.
For sure.
So it's definitely, everything is growing very fast.
Yeah. What has been the biggest challenge in breaking into the bass and rhythm scene?
I would say starting out trying to play shows is a huge struggle if you don't already have those connections. But it's really just consists of going out to your local shows and meeting those people.
Yep.
And you just have to play the game a little bit and make those guys like you. I think that's the hardest part, is breaking into the show scene. For
sure. I was just about to ask, for people that are wanting to get into the scene, do you have advice for them on how they can put themselves out there, what you kind of did to be a trailblazer for yourself?
Yeah, my advice would be focus on your music, because that's what's going to do the talking for you.
Love that.
But a huge part of it is going out, meeting the promoters in your town, meeting the other artists, like gaining those connections, because those are the people that are going to put you on. And eventually you can take that step of out-of-state shows.
Yep.
But it all starts in your own city.
So did you grow up in Utah then?
Yep, born and raised.
Okay. Could you walk us through a creative process when producing a track?
My creative process, I would say, I use a lot of reference tracks, so I'll find some cool or different stuff that I really like, and I will start my new idea kind of piggybacking off of that a little bit. And once I get that foundation of something I think is cool, I kind of just turn my brain off.
Yeah.
And I run with it. Yeah. It turns into a flow state almost.
Do you have any movies that have inspired you for the music that you create, or?
In a sense, yes. For the like songwriting aspects, I think like movies like Dune or Interstellar are so cool to me because of the music that is in those movies.
For sure.
I'm terrible at making cinematic things like that, but it's really inspiring, and I would like to be good at that one day.
Mm-hmm. So would you say Interstellar was one of your favorite movies then?
Best movie of all time.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I think that's a great conversation to have. Do you think that's actually what our reality is composed of?
Honestly, I don't know.
You haven't thought about like in the.
I think it could be.
Yeah.
I think it could be, but I don't think we'll ever know.
Do you think if you could ever take your life as a musician and like how you just went from A to B in your career, you think you could relate that to Interstellar? Like maybe there's an outside force like helping me along the way and making you the person you are today. Have you ever thought about?
Yeah, I think it's something that is very possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we'll ever really know.
Quantum physics are insane.
It's it's a world that I do not understand.
I feel like you have to be a very
cool.
intelligent person to appreciate that
Absolutely.
movie, though. So that's cool you like that movie. Okay, if you could create a song combining elements from a completely different genre, what would it sound like, and who would you feature?
It probably would not be dubstep,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be something very cinematic like that. I love just songwriting, so it would be very melodic and very big and powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably feature. I would love to work with a producer like Mike Dean, who does a lot of stuff with rappers,
Mm-hmm.
but he makes a lot of music like that on his own, and so I would love to work with somebody like that one day.
Yeah. What has been your most memorable show or festival experience so far?
My most memorable show, I would have to say Lost Lands again, just because of the crater.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from playing there, the crater was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and being able to play up there was something I didn't expect I would do, and it was kind of an out of body experience.
Yeah. Did you spend the rest of the weekend there then, or did you leave right after your performance?
I was there all weekend. I spent most of the weekend at the crater.
Did people recognize you?
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
it
do you
happens
feel
sometimes.
when that happens?
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why people think I'm that cool, but it's cool when people come up to me and talk to me or
Yeah.
like tell me that the set was great.
Yeah, I feel like that would be pretty out of body.
Yeah. It's pretty strange, honestly, but I love it. It's great. It makes me feel good. It validates what I'm doing,
What's a really good fan experience you've had in the past?
I had somebody in, I want to say Austin, when I played there last year. They found me in the crowd after my set, and they gave me a pack of 100 stickers of my
Cute.
logo in like 4 or 5
That's so
designs.
cute.
And yeah, they just gave me the pack. They were like, "Here you go. Like, you were amazing."
I love that.
It was really cool.
How are you going to get ready for your performance tonight? What are you going to do after this to just get in the mindset?
We're gonna go eat some good food.
Where are you going to go?
I'm not sure yet, actually. That's up to that guy.
What's
yeah.
like your guilty pleasure for food? Like if it wasn't up to him, what would you get?
I'm gonna say Taco Bell.
Yeah, we don't judge. We do not judge. We love Taco Bell.
Taco Bell's my spot.
Do you like the hot sauces that they provide? What's like
Yeah.
your favorite thing to get there?
The grilled cheese burrito.
Fire. Have you tried the nacho fries? Yeah. So good.
They're the best. They're the best.
They're so good.
Yeah, that's my place. That's my guilty pleasure spot to eat.
And then you said you've been to this venue before.
I've actually never been to Sunbar.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. What was the venue that you said?
Endgame.
Endgame. Okay.
Yes.
Have you heard about Sunbar? Are you excited to perform there?
I've heard a lot about Sunbar.
Yeah.
And it looks like a really cool place, and I'm so excited to play
Yeah.
there finally.
Have you played with Hesh before?
I have not.
Okay.
I've seen that guy probably 6 or 7 times live
Mhm.
though, so it's a cool like full circle moment to be able
So
to
it'll
play
be
a
the
show
first
with
time
him.
to meet him.
Yep.
And that'll be so cool.
Yeah, it's gonna
That's
be
so
a lot of
exciting.
fun.
Do you feel that a lot of your friends are people that also make music, or is a lot of your friend circle people that aren't in this industry at all?
Outside of music, my circle is pretty small. I have like 3 or 4 really close best friends, but other than that, I've met so many amazing people in this scene,
Mm-hmm.
and so many of them are my good friends now, and it's really cool to share the same fascination or
yeah.
hobby with those guys.
For sure.
And we all help each other out. We learn something cool. We go to our next friend and show them.
Yeah.
And it just goes down the chain.
What is something you wish more people understood about your community, the bass riddim community?
I think a lot of people don't realize how tight knit it is.
Mhm.
A lot of people know everybody. We all know each other in a sense, and a lot of people outside of that don't realize that. But it's really one big community of friends.
Yeah.
And it's very like unifying.
100%. Do you have any cool tattoos?
I only have one tattoo,
Okay.
and it's Avicii's logo.
Oh, cute. Did you watch the Netflix documentary?
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Right.
Avicii was one of the first people I listened to as a 11-year-old.
Mhm.
It was like Skrillex and him pretty much.
Yeah.
So
They're like the founding fathers of
Yeah,
music
yeah.
anyway.
He had a very big impact on my love for that stuff. So I got that.
That's cool. Do you want to get more tattoos?
Eventually, yes.
Would you get more stuff pertaining to bass at all, or?
Maybe, but I try to stay away from that. Just I don't want a bunch of logos tattooed
Yeah.
on my body, essentially.
For sure, no stickers.
I already
for
have
you.
one, so.
Okay, what was your preferred outlet to drop music on when you were first creating?
Definitely SoundCloud.
Do you still drop some like music on there on like a ghost
Yeah.
account?
Yeah, I have a side account.
That's cool.
Yeah, SoundCloud is so big in the riddim and dubstep community, so that's really the spot where everyone should start.
Mhm.
And then eventually I expanded to all other platforms
Spotify, Apple
essentially.
Music,
But
yeah.
SoundCloud's the best.
Do you make music videos ever?
I don't.
Would
One
you?
day I would be down though.
Yeah,
I would
that'd
love
be
to.
cool. What fuels you into getting up in the morning to create music, and what is the end goal?
I honestly I create music to just create.
Mhm.
It's an outlet for me and it's a way for me to express myself, and so that's where I find the love in it. And also I love making music to play at my shows.
Mhm.
Making something and then flying here, for example, and then playing that is a really cool feeling.
So fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. This is Josie with Launchpad, and I'm here with Mile32. We had a great time talking today, and I hope he's a great show tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.